Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 137 based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng, all the spectators on site, along with the countless humans from the hundreds of millions of galaxies all cheered excitedly. There were many articles and details regarding Luo Feng and Rong Jun which had been shared previously with many experts to analyze both their strengths. Naturally, the Nanshan armament was discussed as well. Hence, many of the audience knew of how hard it was to unleash the Nanshan armament. Luo Feng unleashing just one golden sword was already enough to make him invincible. Yet, right now he had actually simultaneously unleashed two golden swords. It was simply too intrepid. Savage let out a low roar while taking a big step and closing a distance of 1 kilometer with just that step. Rumble. Rumble. Supporting the energy wave, two golden rainbows shot out, break away. Savage had a struggling expression while slashing as fast as lightning at the golden rainbows. Dang. At the instant of the clash, the direction of his blade slightly changed. At the same time, Savage immediately turned and used the shockwave from the impact to add onto his rotation. Dang. Blocking even the second golden rainbow, fresh blood was spit out. Savage took 2 steps back as his expression paled. Regardless, his eyes were still burning with a stronger than ever battle spirit, shouting, "Luo Feng, the two golden blades are indeed very powerful. However, you having to disperse your energy evenly to control both of them. The power of each of these blades is only about 90% or so compared to the previous 1 inch. Even with 90% power with the both of them combined, to be able to block it even once, I consider you powerful. Let's see how many more times you can block it." In mid-air from a distance, Luo Feng squinted while shouting back, "Come again, ha ha, ha ha ha." Savage suddenly laughed loudly. At the same time he violently threw the blade in his hand. The blade became a blurred image, almost like a secret weapon shooting towards Luo Feng. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. In mid-air the golden rainbow became an arc and blocked the blade. Dang, that blade was knocked away and landed far away on the ground within the arena. What's he up to? The entire arena was noisy. A fighter throwing away his weapon? It was like a fighter cutting off his own arm. He must be insane. What's the matter? Why did he throw away his weapon? This savage has admitted defeat, that madman Luo Feng from the Black Dragon Mountain Starfield. Ever since he took out 2 golden blades, that savage knew he couldn't win. Hence, he admitted defeat. That's not strange at all, not even fighting it out and admitting defeat. The spectators were in an uproar of discussions. Within the arena, however, the two of them were silent. Floating in mid-air, Luo Feng creased his eyebrows, coldly looking at Savage on the ground. Even though they hadn't met for too long, just from the simple exchanges of words and willpower, Luo Feng was very sure the Savage before him had absolute confidence in himself. Even if he was about to lose, he would still fight it out till the end and never admitting defeat. Luo Feng. Standing in the arena, Savage stood there with blood still on his mouth. His eyes, however, were gleaming, and he laughed loudly. "I never once cared about the internal selection with the Ganwu universe country. What I expect of myself is to at least enter the top 1,000 in the entire universe. Having said that, my true aim is to be number 1 in the entire universe." Luo Feng was shocked. The 1 billion spectators were all shocked. Even the countless humans watching the broadcast were shocked. At this moment, the entire Ganwu universe country's countless humans were all stunned. Entire universe is number 1? His baseline is to enter the universe top 1,000? That was a place where countless geniuses from many universe countries fought to enter. On average, there wasn't even 1 per universe country. He actually dared to say that his baseline was to enter the top 1,000, and his true goal was to be the number 1 in the entire universe. This was no simple arrogance. It was simply madness. Within the arena, Luo Feng couldn't help but be shocked too. On the ground, Savage flipped his hand and brandished a new battle knife. This was a huge, pure black battle knife. Compared to the one before, this new knife was twice as large. I never expected that, to gain a slot in the Ganwu universe country, I'd be forced to take out this earth-splitting blade. Savage's entire energy had changed. With the huge knife in his hand, Savage suddenly seemed to become like a wild war god, causing Luo Feng, who was in mid-air, to shout out, "Whatever tricks you may have, take them out and then we'll speak." Rumble. Rumble. The 2 golden rainbows pierced straight towards him. Ha ha, Savage laughed loudly. Wang. In an instant, there were suddenly 2 savages in the arena. The 2 silhouettes rushed towards Luo Feng with terrifying speed. What? Luo Feng, who was controlling the two golden rainbows, was extremely shocked. A spirit reader controller's greatest fear was being unable to pinpoint the target. Among these two savages, one of them must be fake. However, with my spirit energy scan, both of them seem to be real. How can that be possible? Creating a phantom image was extremely simple. In truth, if normal people of Earth with their visual abilities were to watch Luo Feng's level of warrior with their shocking speed, they would often see after images, almost as though there was another silhouette of the same person present. And in truth, no matter how fast one moved, it would still only be one person. Even with a spirit scan, it was not easy to uncover arc light. Arc light? Luo Feng roared, shocked within. The golden horned beast's two great techniques, one of which was the absolute space. The first level of absolute space was arc light. The moment it was established, one's movement could cause the space to warp, creating a second body. The second level of absolute space was 1,000 forms. The moment it was established, one could even create a 1,000 to 10,000 bodies within an area. The third level of absolute space was teleportation. At this point, one would even be invincible amongst the undying. Even Luo Feng's teacher, the master of the Yun Mo planet, had never reached the point of teleportation. Even among the many generations of golden horned beasts, very few of them ever made it. This technique was actually a secret technique for the origin laws of space. For those who have some comprehension of the space origin laws, they too could replicate the effect of arc light. When their bodies followed a peculiar arc line and under the influence of extreme speeds, they could create the effect of two bodies. And that instantaneous acceleration in speed was extremely shocking too. Virtual universe within that large construct in the floating island above the Ganwu continent. In the huge thrones, all the great undyings were in a seated position. Initially, they didn't seem to really care about the battle. However, at this point, space origin law, it's space, and his comprehension is pretty high as well. It doesn't even seem any lower than his comprehension of the ground origin laws. He's actually able to cause the space to warp and create a second body. This punk, within our Ganwu universe country, there hasn't been a genius like him in a very long time. Mad, this punk is definitely mad enough. No wonder he dared to say that his baseline was the universe top 1000, while his true aim is to reach number one amongst all. Ground and space, comprehension of these two laws at such a level. With his domain reaching level 9, just who trained and nurtured such an absolute genius? The group of great undying were all shocked. Because, for a universe-level warrior to step through the gateway of the origin laws, they were already considered outstanding geniuses. However, these belong to the galaxy-level geniuses. While others like Nabini or Hong, they belong to the category of starfield geniuses. By unleashing one golden blade, Luo Feng had belonged to the universe country level of genius. However, unleashing two blades, that was the pinnacle of a universe country level genius. As for savage, ground and space comprehension, and such a deep comprehension at that. And this is only a star-level punk. He's really close to the peak. He belonged to the category of geniuses for the entire universe of humans. And amongst them, he was still at the very peak, arc light? Luo Feng, who had been rigorously studying absolute space, only understood then what was going on with his opponent. Go and die. In mid-air, Luo Feng pointed at Savage and roared. Rumble. Rumble. Two golden rainbows respectively shot in two different directions. One at each savage, one who can be seen with the naked eye, and the other who was picked up with a spirit scan. It seemed like there were two savages. However, in truth, there was only one. Only because he warped the space around him, he created the effect of a mirror image of himself. Ha ha, Savage laughed, seemingly not caring about the two golden rainbows shooting at him, while he still aimed directly at Luo Feng. Break. The distant Luo Feng roared. Having been studying absolute space all this while, he was very clear about that first level and its power. And because he was clear of it, Luo Feng knew that even if he shot out the two golden rainbows, they would be dodged. Hence the best thing to do was break. The two golden rainbows immediately dispersed into 18 golden little blades and madly engulfed his surroundings in all directions. Immediately they dispersed and shot out. Immediately two of the little blades that were shot hit Savage's body. Even though their power was weaker after dispersing, they still affected his movement. Luo Feng surveyed below him. At the same time, the two soaring shuttles beside him shot out two beams of golden light, forming two golden swordfishes. Dispersing the golden blades. And using the swordfish formation. Simultaneous exchange. The two golden swordfish shot towards the savage whose movement had been affected. What? Savage was shocked instantly. With my comprehension of the space origin laws and movement, my instantaneous acceleration is shockingly fast. If his golden blades were a bit further away, I would have been able to easily dodge them. Even if there were 2 or 3 little blades that got close to him, it wouldn't have meant anything. After all, there were a total of 18 little blades. Instead, they completely affected Savage's speed and acceleration, breaking his momentum. The 2 golden fish had already closed the distance. Dang! Dang! Savage waved the huge blade before him. It was almost like space itself was being suppressed, as it split the 2 golden fish. After which, he raised the blade high and sliced it straight at Luo Feng. Go! Savage slashed down. With the combination of his domain and the space origin laws, he had completely suppressed Luo Feng. Go and die! Luo Feng roared. Rumble! Rumble! The 18 little golden blades, which were separated at a distance, swiftly formed back into 2 golden blades behind Savage. During the time Savage slashed at Luo Feng, the 2 golden rainbows shot towards Savage. Even though he had sensed the danger through his domain, Savage not only didn't bother to dodge it but instead roared, "Go and die!" His blade was fast as lightning. Luo Feng gripped his shield. He was feeling as though an entire mountain had come crushing down on him with a huge rumble. At the point, he lost his consciousness. Pang! After Savage's slash, he tried to dodge, but he had already missed his chance. Due to inertia, the 2 golden rainbows continued their motion. One brushed past his body while the other shot right through his chest, creating a hole as big as a bowl. His internal organs were all ruptured and fresh blood was spewing from within. Boom! Savage landed on the floor as fresh blood was flowing from his chest wound. Like a heavily wounded war god, he still stood there and stared at Luo Feng's body. And at that time, the 2 golden blades once again separated into 18 little golden blades and dropped, clanging on the floor of the arena. Dang! 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 Continuous clanging could be heard loud and clear, resounding throughout the arena. The 1 billion spectators were all silent. All of them were watching the 2 absolute geniuses in the arena. One stood there. The other lay on the ground. Savage stood there silently, looking at Luo Feng's corpse on the ground. Luo Feng. Savage muttered, "My earlier plan was to defeat you and then commit suicide. And after go engage in the loser's circle matches. However, your power far exceeded my imagination and what I expected. Without unleashing my full strength, there was no way I could defeat you. Compared to the effects of the long training in the loser's circle, defeating you was more important, and with you risking it all, I couldn't defeat and spare you." Savage recapped the scene before, still shaken from it. This Luo Feng's reaction was too quick. According to his expectations, the moment he unleashed his true strength with both ground and space origin laws unleashed, just that instantaneous movement which produced a mirror image would make Luo Feng too shocked and distracted. Even if he used the golden rainbows to attack, Savage could easily dodge it. At this point, he would close their distance immediately and slash at Luo Feng, who wouldn't be able to resist and would be heavily damaged. And after that he would withdraw and commit suicide. Everything would have been very simple. However, in reality, it didn't go at all like how he had imagined. At the time he unleashed his powers, Luo Feng chose the least fatal attacking path, as the 2 golden blades that separated into 18 little blades and revolved around him. These 18 little blades shot out in all directions together, covering the surrounding space and immediately breaking his formation and movement. Simultaneously, he used 2 golden fish to attack. The battle of these 2? In an instant, Luo Feng controlled these 18 little blades to swiftly reform the golden blades and attack from behind, returning one move after another. From the time I unleashed my strength till the end of the battle, it wasn't even 0.1 second, the dispersed golden blade actually broke my formation. Immediately using the soaring shuttle to attack and then using the reformed golden blades again to retaliate, and the timing was very precise. If he had hesitated for just a little, allowing me to use that space to attack, he would have been done for. To be able to think of everything within that short 0.1 seconds, but also execute everything perfectly. Calm and collected, absolute calm. Savage looked at Luo Feng's body, filled with respect. "I could never achieve your level of calmness." Indeed. Luo Feng and his brother Luo Hua, the calmness was engraved deep within their bones. And on Earth, Luo Feng had experienced many life or death experiences, especially during the possession of the golden horned beast. He had already thought he would die. These experiences allowed Luo Feng to maintain his calm despite any dangers. And the bloodline of the Golden Horned Beast affected him too, as the specialty of the Golden Horned Beast was to slaughter coldly. Add on his big and second brother's mental state training. In terms of calmness, amongst the 100 or so geniuses that stepped through the gateway of the origin laws, Luo Feng was at the top. Actually, all three of them from Earth were exceptional in that sense. In terms of perfect harmony between man and nature and spirit, Luo Feng couldn't compare to his two older brothers. However, the absolute ice-cold calmness, along with the influence of the Golden Horned Beast's bloodline, allowed him to measure up to the highest level of ancient studies and training from Earth, which were comprehended by Hong and Thunder God. Hong and Thunder God had purely studied the Chinese and Indian cultures to their highest levels. Even though Luo Feng was weaker within, he was still much stronger than any genius within the universe who hasn't trained his mental state at all. That, added on top of the bloodline of the Golden Horned Beast, in terms of calm, he could compare to his brothers. Congratulations to Rong Jun. The loud and clear voice resounded throughout the arena, and thanks to Luo Feng, the two of them have delivered such an exciting match to our trillions of people within the Ganwu universe country. This was definitely this time's Genius Match's most exciting match till now. However, there will always be a victor and a loser. This battle, Rong Jun is the victor. Rong Jun also receives a slot in our Ganwu universe name list. He has the right to represent the Ganwu universe country and competing against the geniuses from the other universe countries. Let us anticipate the matches Rong Jun will be fighting in with the other geniuses from all over the universe, eventually grabbing even more honor. Rumble. The 1 billion spectators erupted in cheers, some cheering for savage Rong Jun while others still cheered for madman Luo Feng. This match was definitely a lot more exciting than a lot had expected. When Luo Feng's strength was unleashed, many actually expected Luo Feng to be the victor. Who would have expected Rong Jun to be so sick, to be able to actually produce a mirror image, and finally that final slash was even more brutal. Luo Feng was dead, while Rong Jun was heavily injured. Virtual universe, Ganwu continent, within a large palace. Within one of the large palaces, close to 1,000 youths were gathered. All of them were looking up at the screen, and on it was the battle between Luo Feng and Rong Jun, which had just ended. Amongst you all, some have already acquired a slot in the name list. Some are about to participate in their fourth match. Below the screen, a tall and sturdy, green-horned single-eyed man roared softly, "You are our Ganwu universe country's most exceptional of this generation. Many of you think you are really something. Look at this. Look at these two. All of you look carefully." Finishing up, the green-horned single-eyed man walked out of the palace. Within the palace, a group of youths, men and women, all had complex expressions, pained expressions. "Stronger than me, both of them are stronger than me." A handsome cat-eared youth shook his head. "That madman, those two golden blades of his. I wouldn't be able to block it, too strong, to actually be able to unleash two golden blades. I can barely even manage one. These two, that Luo Feng, I still have confidence to beat him. But that Rong Jun, according to teacher's assessment, he has a comprehension of the origin laws, and that movement, that slash, an at least 8 m tall and sturdy wild giant youth muttered softly, shaking his head. Ganwu continent, floating island, within that huge construct. The blurry images of the thrones, the great and eternal undying, were all discussing the battle. How long has it been, in the history of our Ganwu universe country genius duels, since such a level of battle was held, prior to more than 300 genius competitions? Back then the Iron Head General was a star level 7, only his battle could match up to this, right, over 300 genius competitions before. In the blink of an eye, close to 2 million years have passed, ha. My match back then could barely compare to this one. 1.89 million years have passed since then, and I've already become an undying. However, back then my opponent wasn't weaker than me. It was a pity that when he became a domain lord, he went to the battlefield outside the starfield and died. A resounding voice infused with a metallic feeling boomed, "The path of an undying is incomparably difficult. Amidst the way, it's filled with dangers. The number of geniuses that have fallen along the way is already countless. The fallen geniuses, many of them can only be deemed geniuses within a galaxy or a star field. And geniuses like Luo Feng and Rong Jun, these two punks, this level of absolute geniuses, the chances of their death are much lower. True, if it were in the Ganwu secret area, these pinnacle geniuses would be incomparably respected, lowering their chances of death the most. However, if it were in the virtual universe company, there are too many pinnacle geniuses there. Hence, the competition is intense and the elimination rate is even higher. The number of geniuses who die there compared to our secret area is much, much more. They require only the true absolute strong among the geniuses. This time, this Rong Jun will definitely rank at the top of our universe country. And becoming the top 1,000 in the entire universe wouldn't be a problem either. As for whether he's able to make it as number 1 of the entire universe, I think the chances are extremely low. Instead, if it's top 10, there's still a possibility, right? Rong Jun is definitely the number 1 in our Ganwu universe's geniuses. Luo Feng should be able to rank in the top 10. That Luo Feng punk was very calm. I really like him, that calmness. His chances of dying in the future are very low too. Luo Feng didn't know that this group of undying from the Ganwu universe were ranking him and Rong Jun by their strengths. He was still thinking of his previous battle, nimble and flexible. Luo Feng's consciousness returned to reality within his Earth home study. My flexibility still isn't enough. A spirit reader controller stepping on a spirit weapon should originally attack from afar. The moment a fighter closes in, that's just suicide. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. As long as I'm nimble enough, making that Rong Jun unable to even touch me, at least I wouldn't be at a disadvantage immediately. Space origin laws, I haven't even touched the door. However, the long periods of training in absolute space, my instantaneous movement speed has increased too. Luo Feng thought, when I return, I have to find a flying spirit weapon that suits me best. As for the soaring shuttle, it's too dispersed, not concentrated enough. Reflecting on every battle, this was the habit ingrained into every student of the Dojo of Limits. Luo Feng reflected on the battle for over a half hour before entering the Virtual Universe Network. Virtual Universe Network, Black Dragon Mountain Island, 9-star Bay, 30. You've only returned now. Where did you go after the battle? Thunder God stood in the grass patch of Luo Feng's villa. He was waiting there along with an entire group including Xuxin and others there. Daddy, you were too powerful. Little Hai and Ping Ping rushed over to hug Luo Feng. Big brother, that was a beautiful match. Luo Hua revealed a happy expression. Right now the entire Ganwu universe country has been shaken. Countless people are debating about you. You can go into the Virtual Universe Company's page and take a look. Many people are leaving messages, saying you and Rong Jun definitely belong to our universe country's strongest geniuses. Outside's gone crazy. Xu Gang nodded and sighed. Brother-in-law, you lost the match, but the entire Black Dragon Mountain Island won an incomparably exciting bustle. Indeed. Actually, many people from the universe couldn't even understand the little details of the battle between Luo Feng and Rong Jun. However, once the battle ended, Rong Jun was already deemed unanimously by a large amount of sector lords and even undyings as Ganwu universe country's number 1. Not only that, he was also considered to be the strongest out of hundreds of geniuses competitions before. Number 1 out of hundreds of competitions before? This match was naturally roaring like a raging flame. Rong Jun and Luo Feng's reputation immediately soared. Where's Big Brother? Luo Feng asked curiously. Big Brother and Luo are in his house. Thunder God pointed at Hong's house. About 10 minutes after your battle, the founder of the Three-Axe Mountain named the Time Sector Lord Luo came. Time Sector Lord? And Big Brother? Luo Feng couldn't help but feel nervous. Within the living room of Hong's house, the old man with a head full of white sat opposite Hong. You don't regret it? Luo looked at Hong. Following me means you won't be able to return for 20,000 years. Hong nodded lightly. His eyes were calm, without any hesitations. Can you tell me why you've suddenly decided to take me as your teacher even though the deadline hasn't been reached? The Time Sector Lord Luo looked curiously at the youth from Earth. Does it have anything to do with your third brother's match that just ended? Yes. Hong nodded and sighed. Yes, that match made me realize, I didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, my third brother and I had that much of a gap in power. He knew Luo Feng was strong, but he never expected him to be that strong. If I continue on my own isolated ways without the teachings of a teacher, I think, the difference between my third brother and I will keep getting larger. I will get left behind even further. Hong shook his head and laughed. Actually, it's not just my third brother, I can feel the stress coming from my second brother too. Ever since he received the inheritance, his strength has been growing at an obviously much faster rate. The Time Sector Lord Luo smiled and nodded. It's good you feel the pressure. How about this, you get ready, then take a universe ship to meet up with me. I'll give you a day's time to say your goodbyes with your family, okay? Hong nodded. Not long after the Time Sector Lord left, Luo Feng and Thunder God entered. You are here, sit. Hong pointed at the 2 seats beside him. Big brother, what's going on? Thunder God stared at Hong, that founder of the Three-Axe Mountain, the Time Sector Lord. Why did he suddenly come? Didn't he give you 10 days worth of time to think about it? There's still another 2 to 3 days left. Luo Feng looked at Hong, feeling nervous inside. I looked for teacher myself. Hong said, teacher? Luo Feng and Thunder God's expression changed. You've really decided to go with the Time Sector Lord? Thunder God said nervously, this will be a trip that's at least 20,000 years. Can you imagine what 20,000 years is? Our China's recorded history and culture is only 5,000 years old. In an instant you'll be leaving for 20,000 years. This is simple. We can still meet in the virtual universe. Hong smiled. It's different. Thunder God shook his head. Luo Feng looked at Hong's expression, saying softly, Big brother, have you decided? Hong looked over and nodded. Yes, this trip, you won't be seeing Earth for 20,000 years, won't be seeing my home, and you won't be able to smell the air of home for a while. Luo Feng looked at him. Since I've taken this path to reach the pinnacle of strength, what can I not sacrifice? Hong shook his head. My children have long married and I have no attachments. If needed, I can just meet my children in the virtual universe. As for my home, the place that raised me, I'll leave it in my memories. I have to sacrifice some things to gain some. When my wife died and my children married and had their families, the most important thing in my life became martial arts, wandering the universe, seeing the many weird and peculiar things within, chasing after the pinnacle of life. That's the sort of life I like. Hong's eyes had a glimmer of light. In the vast universe the strong are as numerous as the clouds. My aim is to not just become strong within that universe, but to become one of the most outstanding and strongest. Luo Feng and Thunder God exchanged glances, feeling their big brother's absolute confidence and aspirations. To be able to reach a high level in the path of martial arts, one first had to have an absolute level of aspiration. Only then will he work towards that dream. Second and third brother. Hong turned to look at both of them, laughing. You two should be happy for me. Both of you already have your own inheritance. Can you bear to look at your big brother isolate himself and train alone? Thunder God was shocked, following which he laughed loudly. Big brother, well said. 30 and I both have our inheritance. You go and follow that Time Sector Lord. We will then be able to compare, just which of the three brothers will be stronger next time. Bring it on. Hong laughed too. Big brother and second brother, I'll take the lead for now. Luo Feng laughed. You better be careful and maintain your lead, otherwise your second brother and I may just catch up in the blink of an eye. Hong looked at Luo Feng. Thunder God said too, yes, 30, your big brother and I didn't have a good teacher in the beginning. Now that we have proper guidance, our strength will immediately soar, and your big brother's comprehension is incredibly high. I don't have to speak much about it. Hence, you better be careful. If you have the skills, come chase after me. Luo Feng laughed loudly. The three brothers of Earth laughed happily. However, unknowingly, the corners of their eyes were a little wet. Milky Way, Earth, Asia continent, Hongning base. China time year 2066, July 27th, evening about 5 p.m. The sun had yet to set behind the mountains, and the sky was red. A dark blue disc-shaped universe ship was floating in the air above Hongning base. The entire dojo of limits, all the upper echelon along with Hong's family had all gathered. After saying goodbye to his family and friends, this special, ultimate warrior of Earth, finally left alone in that universe ship. Goodbye. Ha ha, don't be like that. I'll meet you in the virtual universe. With a laugh, Hong flew into the universe ship. Rumble. The universe ship fiercely accelerated and flew into the sky. Big brother, all the best. Thunder God stood in mid-air. He couldn't help but shout out. Similarly standing in mid-air, Luo Feng raised his head to watch the universe ship leave, muttering, all the best. On this day, year 2066, July 27th, the ultimate pinnacle of warriors of Earth, Hong, took the universe ship and left his home. This trip was going to be a very, very long one. The day of the fourth round of the Genius Duels. After the battle between Luo Feng and Rong Jian had ended, that same day all the other matches had ended too. A total of 625 victors were chosen. As for the other 9375 who entered the loser's circle, they had 3 days of rest before they had to begin a high-density, tedious round of fights. Every one of them had to battle 9,374 times just to get a slot in the remaining 275 of the name list. Earth, Jiangnan Base, Yangzhou City, Big Brother is gone. Luo Feng sat on the balcony of his castle. He was lying alone there, lifting a cup of tea. He's gone with that Time Sector Lord to wander the universe. In his mind, he reminisced about every scene from the past clearly. In his ears he could still clearly hear the laughter the three of them shared yesterday, along with their vows. In a few thousand years, even tens of thousands of years, we three brothers will compete again, right? We'll compete. Who's afraid? This was the vow of the brothers. Whether it was Hong, Thunder God or Luo Feng, they all walked this path to reach the pinnacle of life itself. And this path was filled with twists and dangers. One could fall easily if he was careless. Peng. Luo Feng put down the cup, his eyes gleaming. Big brother, you work hard and I won't relax either. Barbata, enter the virtual universe. Luo Feng split a thread of his consciousness to enter the virtual universe. In terms of consciousness strength, the universe-level Golden Horned Beast's consciousness level was completely capable of splitting a part to maintain consciousness in reality while the other part was in the virtual universe. Virtual universe within the slaughterhouse slaughter space. This was a vast space. Luo Feng stood in space. Waha, the demon Barbata jumped about and shouted, Luo Feng, the arena duel just ended. You have 3 days of rest, it's only the first day and you've already entered the slaughterhouse, so hard-working. Speak, what kind of opponent do you want me to set up for you? Haha, I love training you the most, I want a spirit weapon. Luo Feng emphasized, spirit weapon specialized just for flying, it should also be good for twisting about in small spaces. Since the battle with Savage Rong Jun, he had obviously felt his own flexibility and speed was insufficient in the face of the opponent's speed. You've found a weakness? Barbata rubbed his chin with his small hand, floating above. He looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, you looking for a long-term or short-term effect? Long-term. And short-term? Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. The little demon nodded. Right, short-term is to increase your nimbleness as much as possible in a short amount of time, requiring only 10 days to half a month. As for long-term, that would mean working from the basics one step at a time, at the same time, picking a spirit weapon that would accompany you for a very, very long time, long-term. Luo Feng emphasized, I don't lack time. Very well. The little demon pointed his finger and raised his head. Your choice is very wise, then I'll pick a flying spirit weapon for you. The most suitable for gold and space origin laws would be a level 5 spirit weapon, the Dark Cloud Shuttle. The little demon smiled. Of course, during the beginning, you'll probably not even be able to match up to the soaring shuttle's efficiency. However, there's no rush. I will train you well. How long do you think it'll take for my speed and flexibility to increase greatly? Luo Feng asked. It depends on your comprehension. The little demon said, the higher you comprehension, the comprehension of the origin laws will be faster too. With my sequence of training, I estimate you'll qualify in a year. If your comprehension is poor and you don't work hard enough, even 100 years won't be sufficient. A sequence of training? Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. He. The little demon curled his lips and smiled, slowly. What we have is time. I will train you well. From the year 2066, July 30th, the losers' circle matches began. In terms of density, in truth, one had to battle 10 times in a day. With Luo Feng's speed, he was able to finish a match in 1 minute. Hence, every duel may be taxing for his opponents. However, for Luo Feng, he was completely relaxed. After all, he was ranked among the top 10 of the Gunwu Universe country geniuses. As for this losers' circle, including him, there were a total of 49 others who had stepped through the gateway of the origin laws, and of which only 2 were capable of matching up to Luo Feng. Hence the losers' circle matches were very easy. In fact, they became the grounds for Luo Feng to test his battle strategies. Within the slaughterhouse, it was a large grass patch, and on it was a blur of countless bloodbirds covering the skies and flying towards Luo Feng. Dodge. 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 Don't even touch them, damn, faster. You have to be fast. This test, there's a possibility of scoring a 100%. The little demon roared. And Luo Feng stood on the black peculiar shuttle spirit weapon. This dark cloud shuttle naturally extended black skin that wrapped about Luo Feng's boots. Luo Feng's entire being had already become a blurry image, dodging constantly under the attacks of the countless blood birds. As soon as he was hit by one bird, he was subsequently hit by others. When he was hit by 3 of them, rumble. All the blood birds vanished. You failed again. The little demon stared at Luo Feng with his red eyes, roaring angrily, continue your basics training. I have never seen you so stupid. With a wave of his hand, immediately the surrounding grass patch vanished, and became a large machinery factory. Within it were many complex apparatus. Begin. The little demon roared. Luo Feng remained calm all the while. Barbata's words didn't seem to affect him at all. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.